Talk to yourself like this for 3 days if you want to change your life. Don't start with your job, your money, or your circumstances. Start with your conversations, the ones you have with yourself. Because every life is built on dialogue, and the most important voice you will ever hear is your own. Most people let their mind run on autopilot. They wake up, and the first thing they hear inside is doubt, fear, and reminders of yesterday's mistakes. Then they wonder why today feels heavy. But your mind is like soil. Whatever you plant in it will grow. If you plant complaints, you harvest excuses. If you plant purpose, you harvest progress. So for the next 3 days, you must speak to yourself on purpose. When you wake up, don't say, I'm tired. Say, I'm getting stronger. Don't say, this is too hard. Say, this is training me. Don't say, I don't have what it takes. Say, I'm developing what it takes. Your words are not just sounds. They are instructions to your nervous system. Your body listens, your mind believes, your actions follow. For 3 days, stop negotiating with weakness. Weakness loves comfort. It loves delay. It loves tomorrow. But success is built by people who talk themselves into discipline instead of out of effort. Say this to yourself: I do what's right, not what's easy. I finish what I start. I show up even when I don't feel like it. I'm becoming the kind of person my goals require. And when resistance shows up, and it will, don't argue with it emotionally. Command it intellectually. Say, this feeling is temporary, but my direction is permanent. Here's the secret. You don't rise to the level of your hopes. You fall to the level of your self-talk. If you talk like a champion, you train like one. If you talk like a victim, you perform like one. For 3 days, eliminate these words from your inner vocabulary. I can't. I'll try. Maybe. One day. Replace them with I will. I am. I now. I decide. Your future is not waiting for motivation. It's waiting for identity. When you change the way you speak to yourself, you change the way you see yourself. And when you change how you see yourself, your behavior has no choice but to follow. So for the next 3 days, become your own coach. Be firm. Be kind. Be demanding. Speak life into your plans. Speak courage into your fear. Speak discipline into your comfort. Talk to yourself like this for 3 days. And you won't recognize who you're becoming on the 4th. Every life is shaped by the conversations that happen in the quiet moments. Long before the world hears your voice, your mind has already decided what you believe about yourself. That belief system is not formed by one big event, but by thousands of small sentences repeated every day. The mind does not question what it hears consistently. It accepts it, stores it, and builds your identity around it. If you keep telling yourself that you are behind, unlucky, or not good enough, your actions will eventually match that story. You will hesitate where you should act. You will doubt where you should decide. Not because you are incapable, but because your inner voice has trained you to see limits instead of possibilities. But here is the powerful truth: the same mind that learned doubt can be taught confidence. The same voice that once weakened you can be trained to strengthen you. When you speak with intention, you are not pretending, you are programming. You are giving your mind a new set of instructions. When you say, I am improving, your brain looks for evidence to support it. When you say, I am disciplined, your behavior begins to organize itself around that idea. Your inner voice becomes a compass, pointing your energy in a new direction. This is not magic. It is mental education. You are teaching your nervous system how to respond to pressure. You are training your focus to look for solutions instead of excuses. You are shaping your future before it ever arrives. Results tomorrow will always reflect the words you repeat today. If you want a better life, begin with better language. Because the most important conversation you will ever have is the one you have with yourself. Most people wait for motivation before they move. They say, once I feel ready, then I'll act. But Readiness is not a feeling, it is a decision. Discipline is built when you choose to act without asking permission from your mood. Your emotions are temporary, but your standards must be permanent. The brain is designed to seek comfort and avoid effort. If you let feelings lead, comfort will always win. But when you use language to give yourself direction, you teach the mind to follow leadership instead of emotion. You stop asking, do I feel like it? And start stating, this is what I do. Words turn intention into command. When you say, I will do this now, your nervous system shifts from debate to action. When you say, I show up even when it's uncomfortable, you are not describing a mood. You are defining a rule, and rules create consistency. Discipline is not punishment. It is self-respect in action. It is the ability to keep a promise to yourself, especially when nobody is watching. Each time you speak with authority instead of excuse, you strengthen your inner leadership. You prove to yourself that you are in control, not your impulses. The people who build extraordinary lives are not the most emotional, they are the most directed. They don't rely on inspiration, they rely on instruction. Their self-talk is firm, calm, and clear. When you learn to use your words to command your behavior, you stop negotiating with weakness. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You become the kind of person who moves first and feels better later. That is how discipline is built, not by chasing motivation, but by speaking in the language of commitment. You are not born with a fixed identity, you build one. Every day, through your habits, choices, and especially your self-talk, you are teaching yourself who you are. The mind is always asking, what kind of person is this? And then it shapes your behavior to match the answer you give it. When you repeatedly say, I'm not consistent, your actions look for ways to confirm it. When you say, I'm becoming disciplined, your behavior starts adjusting to fit that image. Identity is not a label you wait to earn, it is a direction you decide to move in. Repetition is the architect of that identity. One good decision does not change who you are, but repeated decisions create a pattern. And patterns become personality. This is why your daily language matters. Every time you speak to yourself, you are either reinforcing the old version of you or training the new one. If you want to become focused, you must speak like a focused person. If you want to become confident, you must talk like someone who expects to win. Your mind cannot hold two identities at the same time. It will always lean toward the one you feed the most. This is not about pretending. It is about practicing. You don't say, I am disciplined, because it is perfectly true today. You say it because it is becoming true through your action. The words lead and the behavior follows. Your future self is not waiting for permission. It is waiting for repetition. Speak the identity you want. Live it a little each day, and over time, you won't be trying to change. You will simply be becoming. Change does not always require a year. Sometimes it requires a focused moment. 3 days of intentional effort can interrupt a pattern that has been running for years. Not because time itself is magical, but because attention is powerful. When you concentrate your energy, your mind stops drifting and starts directing. Most people live on automatic. They think the same thoughts, speak the same words, and repeat the same behaviors. Nothing changes because nothing is challenged. But when you decide to take 3 days and speak with purpose, you create a break in the routine. You introduce new instructions to the system. For 3 days, you become alert instead of asleep. You catch the old phrases before they finish. You replace them with better ones. You stop reacting and start choosing. This awareness alone begins to shift your direction. Momentum is not built in massive leaps. It is built in small, consistent corrections. 3 days of focused self-talk can restore clarity. It can rebuild belief. It can remind you that you are not stuck. You are just untrained. During those 3 days, you prove something to yourself that you are capable of leading your own mind. And once you experience that control, you don't forget it, and your confidence grows, not because everything changed, but because you changed how you respond. 3 days won't make you perfect, but it can make you powerful. It can turn confusion into clarity and hesitation into movement. When you control your words, you control your direction. And direction, given enough time, always becomes destiny. Everything you want to change in your life begins with one simple decision to speak to yourself with purpose instead of habit. Your inner voice is not just commentary. It is guidance. It trains your mind, directs your actions, and shapes your identity. When you take control of that voice, you take control of your future. For 3 days, you don't wait to feel ready. You decide to become ready. You use your words to build discipline, your repetition to shape identity, and your focus to create momentum. You stop drifting and start directing, and once you do, something powerful happens. You realize that you were never stuck. You were just listening to the wrong instructions. Change the instructions, and the results must change. So speak with intention, act with discipline, repeat with belief, because the life you want is not found in wishing. It is built in the way you talk to yourself every single day.